Hello, my name is Claire Billing and I am Chair of North Herts Council. I would like to welcome everyone to today's Holocaust Memorial event in North Herts on this significant day, marking the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau and the 30th anniversary of the Bosnian genocide. Our first event in North Herts was held on the 27th of January 2020, championed by my late stepmother Judy Billing. She once said, as the daughter of a Jewish refugee from Hitler's Berlin, I regard it as vital that we never forget the horrors of genocide. In recent months, we've seen a significant increase in anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim hatred in the UK and globally, following the tragic events of October the 7th in Israel and the subsequent conflict in Gaza. We hope that Holocaust Memorial Day 2025 will be an opportunity for people to come together, learn from and about the past, and take action to create a better future for all by challenging prejudice and hate. Thank you.
I'm Val Bryan, Deputy Leader of North Herts Council. I'd like to concentrate on the families who live in exile, those whose normal home lives have gone. They live wherever they find themselves. I'd like to do this by reading two poems by Angelo. The first, from a child's perspective, is called The Mothering Blackness. She came home running back to the mothering blackness, deep the smothering blackness. White tears, icicle gold plains of her face. She came home running. She came down creeping, down to the black arms waiting, down to the warm heart waiting. Rime of alien dreams befrost her rich brown face. She came down creeping. She came home blameless, black yet as Hagar's daughter, tall as was Sheba's daughter. Breaths of northern winds die on the desert's face. She came home blameless. The second poem is The New House by Angelo, which is about a woman who has to move from house to house. What words has smashed against these walls, crashed up and down these halls, lay mute and then drained, their meanings out and into these floors? What feelings long since dead, stream vague yearnings below this ceiling light? In some dimension which I cannot know, the shadows of another exist. I bring my memories, held too long in check, to let them hear shoulder space and place to be. When I leave to find another house, I wonder what amongst these shades will be left of me.
I'd like to introduce Simon Madison. Simon Madison has been a resident of Hitchin for over 50 years and a member of the National Secular Society.
Thank you for inviting me again to say a few words on Holocaust Memorial Day. It's important to remember that in their mission to exterminate the Jews, the Nazis were not attacking what they saw as a religious minority. To the Nazis, there was no distinction between a secular and an Orthodox Jew. Genocide is defined as the intentional and deliberate killing of a large number of people of a particular ethnic group because of their membership of that group with the aim of destroying that group. When we speak of genocide, we must never forget the genocides of the Armenian people some 110 years ago, the Tutsi people in Rwanda, the Bosnia people at Srebrenica, both more recently, and the 6 million Jewish people during the Holocaust, the memory of which is why we are here today. The world has also seen a terrible list of mass killings, many during wars, which may not reach the definition threshold of intent to destroy an ethnic group. Such slaughters are of course no less horrific because they may not reach an international consensus on meeting a definition. Today, it is a cause for great alarm that the International Court of Justice and a reputable body like Amnesty International and the UN Special Reporter for Palestine are all discussing whether the conduct of Israel's war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip is genocide. Following Hamas's atrocity crimes of the slaughter of 1,200 and the kidnapping of 250 Israelis in October 2023, the response of the Israeli army in killing over 44,000 Palestinians, mostly women and children, and the apparent ethnic cleansing of Palestinians from Gaza, the world enters a dark and dangerous place in the dehumanization of peoples. Taking whatever action we can for a better future is more than ever necessary as we now experience rising anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Thank you.
With great pleasure, I would like to welcome Tahir Khalid. Imam Tahir Khalid is Minister of Religion for the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community UK. Tahir is a former presenter on the Voice of Islam radio. He studied at the Jamia Ahmadiyya UK Institution of Modern Languages and Theology. He was first appointed in London, where he acted as Imam for 7 years before being appointed in Hertfordshire in September 2022.
Ladies and gentlemen, today on Holocaust Memorial Day, we gather to honor the memory of the millions of innocent lives lost during the Holocaust and other genocides, such as in Bosnia, Rwanda, Darfur, and currently in Gaza. This year holds deep significance as we mark the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau and the 30th anniversary of the genocide in Bosnia. The theme for a better future compels us to reflect not only on the past, but also on our responsibility to ensure such atrocities are never repeated. A few years ago, I had the deeply moving experience of visiting the Sachsenhausen concentration camp in Berlin. Walking through its grounds, I saw firsthand the chilling remnants of a system built on hatred and dehumanization. It was a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked prejudice and intolerance. This visit strengthened my resolve to ensure that the lessons of the past guide our actions for the future. As an Ahmadi Muslim, I draw inspiration from the teachings of Islam, which emphasize the sanctity of human life and the pursuit of justice. The Holy Quran says, "Whoever saves one life, it is as if he has saved the whole of mankind." This verse reminds us that every life is sacred and protecting others from harm is a sacred duty. The promised Messiah, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmed, peace be upon him, the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, taught that true faith lies in service to humanity and in standing against oppression. It is through these principles that we can create a better future. We must actively speak out against Holocaust denial, challenge all forms of prejudice, and foster and encourage understanding through education and build community cohesion by celebrating our shared humanity. Ignorance and hatred must be replaced with knowledge and compassion. As the fifth caliph of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmed, reminds us, if we wish to establish peace in the world, we must learn to respect one another, regardless of religion, nationality, or background. Let us honor those who suffered by committing to a world built on love, respect, and peace. Together, through faith and compassion, we can shape a better future where the dignity of all is upheld and the tragedies of the past are never repeated. Thank you.
I am pleased to introduce Mr. Bal Sandu. Bal Sandu is a member of the Sikh community and sits on the North Hearts Interfaith Forum.
From shadows cast by walls of stone, a lesson speaks, though time has flown. Hatred born in hearts confined, unleashed it blinds, it corrupts the mind. The camps, the fires, the silent cries, a warning rests where history lies, in names erased, in lives undone. The weight of hatred spares not one. We must not turn from pain endured. The truth, though hard, must be assured. That fear of other, left unchecked, breeds ruin vast, leaves love wrecked. So guard your soul, refuse the hate, choose kindness now, before it's too late. For ashes whisper, do not forget, the cost of hatred is endless regret. Never forget.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Chris Kell. Chris Kell is a representative of the North Hearts Interfaith Forum from the Quaker faith.
Today we gather to remember, to reflect, and to honour the lives lost during one of the darkest chapters of human history, the Holocaust. On this Holocaust Memorial Day, we stand united in solidarity with the survivors, the families of those who perished, and with all those who continue to be affected by the scars of that terrible time. Sadly, this has turned out not to be the only act of genocide in the world, though it remains the largest, and it behoves us to be humble in the face of our ongoing capacity for atrocities against each other. The Holocaust was not just an event of the past, it is a warning for our present and our future. I'm here as a representative of North Hearts Interfaith Forum, but also as a Quaker. The core of the Quaker faith, as in many other religious groups, is a commitment to peace, equality, and social justice. Not because we believe that we are any better than anyone else, but because we see that of God in everyone, a light that can never be extinguished, no matter the circumstances. As such, we make a commitment to non-violence, not simply by abstaining from physical conflict, but by rejecting the violence of the mind and the heart. This is about rejecting the belief that your own identity, your own way of life, is somehow superior to others. It's about rejecting the violence of indifference as well, when we look away, when we remain silent in the face of cruelty, when we turn a blind eye to suffering. The seeds of hatred, bigotry, and dehumanization that lead to genocide do not grow overnight. They are nurtured over years through ignorance, prejudice, and a failure to stand up for what is right. One of the things that we can do at this time of year is to listen to the stories of those who've suffered and learn from them. We need to reach out to those who are different from us, not with suspicion, but with curiosity and respect. We must confront the hatred and division that threaten our communities even now, so that we do not nurture more hatred, but instill an atmosphere of genuine appreciation for our differences and our gifts. So on this Holocaust Memorial Day, let us not simply mourn the lives lost, but commit ourselves to the work of building a better future. A future where the lessons of the past guide our actions, where we reject the forces that divide us, and where we embrace the light of love and justice in all people. Taking responsibility for ourselves, our own beliefs, and the atmosphere we generate around us might seem a tall order, but we can be strengthened by remembering that there have always been those who stood up to be counted, sometimes sacrificing their own lives in the process, but always leaving us with the message that forgiveness and compassion transform hatred and cruelty, and that generosity and sharing create societies that we all might want to live in.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Yankee Fakler. Yankee Fakler was born and raised in Letchworth, a member of Letchworth's Jewish community. Yankee is a second-generation Holocaust survivor who was raised and educated in the UK and lived in Israel for over 25 years before moving to Ireland. He is a copywriter, ghostwriter, published author and broadcaster. He is the founder and chair of the Jewish Historical Society of Ireland.
As we commemorate 80 years since the Red Army liberated Auschwitz, it would be nice to think that the defeat of Nazi Germany in 1945 marked the end of the sickness we call anti-Semitism that led to the Holocaust. Nice to think, but not reality. In the 12 months after the end of World War II in Europe, no fewer than 2,000 Jews were murdered by Poles without a Nazi in sight. And although the shadow of the Holocaust largely succeeded in keeping the Jew hatred genie in its bottle for several decades, anti-Semitism is with us again on an alarming scale. Whether it's hate marches in the streets of our towns and cities, whether it's Jewish children being molested on school buses and in the schoolyard, whether it's official advice to Jews not to wear skull caps or Stars of David in public, or whether it's official school textbooks that are full of anti-Semitic stereotypes, Jews in the UK are no longer feeling as welcome or as comfortable as before. When the Holocaust does get mentioned in public discourse, it is more often than not weaponized against Jews and the Jewish state. Does that mean I believe that we should not commemorate Holocaust Memorial Day? No. But I think we need to be more mindful of where Jew hatred can lead. We need to be more mindful that Jews have traditionally been the canary in the mine. The hatred and violence unleashed against Jews can quickly become hatred against other minorities in our society. The Holocaust was exclusively a Jewish tragedy, but the potential for such hatred to spread is frighteningly high. As we stand today and mourn the 6 million of my co-religionists who were massacred by a culture that thrived on hate, we must rededicate our efforts to fighting against hate in our own society.
My name is Daniel Allen, and I am the leader of North Hertfordshire District Council. This is a poem, The Refugee Blues, by W.H. Auden. Say this city has 10 million souls. Some are living in mansions, some are living in holes. Yet there's no place for us, my dear. Yet there's no place for us. Once we had a country and we thought it was fair. Look in the atlas, you'll find it there. But we cannot go there now, my dear. We cannot go there now. In the village churchyard there grows an old yew. Every spring it blossoms anew. Old passports can't do that, my dear. Old passports can't do that. The consul banged the table and said, "You've got no passports, you're officially dead." But we are still alive, my dear. But we are still alive. Went to a committee, they offered me a chair. But where shall we go today, my dear? But where shall we go? Came to a public meeting, the speaker got up and said, "If we let them in, will they steal our daily bread?" He was talking of you and me, my dear. He was talking of you and me. Thought I heard the thunder rumbling in the sky. It was Hitler over Europe saying, "They must die." We were in his mind, my dear. We were in his mind. Saw a poodle in a jacket fastened with a pin. Saw a door opened and a cat let in. They weren't German Jews, my dear. but they weren't German Jews. Went down by the harbour, stood upon the quay, saw the fish swimming as if they were free. Only 10 feet away, my dear, only 10 feet away. Walked through a wood, saw the birds in the trees. They had no politicians, and they sang with ease. They weren't the human race, my dear, they weren't the human race. Dreamed I saw a building with 1,000 floors, 1,000 windows and 1,000 doors. Not one of them was ours, my dear, not one of them was ours. Stood on a great plain in the falling snow. 10,000 soldiers marched to and fro, looking for you and me, my dear, looking for you and me.
I'd like to end on a more optimistic note by reading Maya Angelou's Touched by Angel. We, unaccustomed to courage, exiles from delight, live coiled in shells of loneliness until love leaves its high holy temple and comes into our sight to liberate us into life. Love arrives and its train comes ecstasies, old memories of pleasure, ancient histories of pain. Yet, if we are bold, love strikes away the chains of fear from our souls. We are weaned from our timidity in the flush of love's light. We dare be brave, and suddenly we see that love cusses all we are, will ever be. Yet it is only love which sets us free.
I'd like to thank you all for joining us here at North Harts District Council for this Holocaust Memorial Day event today. I'd like to thank all of our speakers and everyone that's helped make this happen today. We acknowledge today, as we should all do. Thank you.